Welcome to Nebraska Prep's Postgame.
Love this part of the week. We get to hear the music and the big voice guy tell us it is NEB Preps. And we're on that rotation schedule, so we get the three-headed monster known as myself, ODB, Jacob Padilla, and our main squeeze, our numero uno, Mike Sautter.
Somebody is a monster. I don't know who that is.
How we doing, fellas?
I'm good.
Doing pretty well.
Eventful, uneventful. See, I think what everybody knows this week is this going to be a long week. So, like, if it's like, oh, hey, how we doing? Yeah, it's going to be a long week. A lot of games, a lot of sports to cover, but it's kind of what we do.
Going to be a long week.
Before we jump in the top 10, I think we start with the rare Saturday high school football game.
Yeah,
touch on that a little
FNC
bit.
Cup.
Yeah.
What did you guys think?
Columbus and Fremont with Memorial Stadium free on Saturday with Nebraska playing on Friday. Set up a game there on Saturday, regular season game. Obviously, we're used to seeing state tournament games there, but a little different and ended up being a good one. 28-27, Columbus holds on against Fremont.
2-point conversion stop to win it. How about that?
I mean, obviously being familiar with Columbus, they had good personnel. I mean, that's a good win.
Yeah. It was a good win. Coach Williams does a nice job.
Yeah, I like going for the two there in that situation. Like, this is a game these kids will never forget, being able to play there. Obviously, neither one of these teams have been in the state tournament final anytime recently. So you're in that situation, you go for it. And they didn't. Props to Columbus. They made the play and got the stop there overtime.
Yeah, you right. You with us over there? Or?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
I didn't know what I didn't watch it, so I didn't know what happened.
We just started a little bit out of order, man. I mean, probably should have talked about that first, but what we do is we adjust. It's what we always do, kind of like Malik Willis.
Willis adjusted
versus Jordan Love. But I mean, we could do Packer talk. Steelers are playing well. We could do volleyball, but we'll get you tomorrow on the regular show for volleyball. As we do hop into the top 10 and an impressive win, and not quite sure what's going on with Millard North. Maybe some changes, maybe not some changes, but we do know that 63-21. Is it all in the numbers, or are we missing something here with this prolific Millard South offense?
I think it's what we've been talking about. Is just they have so many weapons. They had 4 different receivers with 50 or more yards and 3 different receivers with touchdowns. Amir Hill, Isaac Jensen, Chase Lofton, and Amarion Jackson, who got in the end zone this week. And then you got, Hill is kind of a versatile threat for them. He had 71 receiving yards, 30 rushing yards, and a touchdown there. Pruka doing both. It's just there's so many guys on offense for them to guard. And then you've got a guy like Tamala that can get them all the ball anywhere on the field.
He was 24-35 for 312.
And
he goes for 300 every week.
Yeah.
Pretty much at this point.
That's 68%. It's pretty good.
And then you had the defense, 5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception. So just firing on all cylinders in that one. And these guys certainly got up for their Millard rivalry games this year.
How dangerous an offense does this become if they run the ball with any sort of consistency like that?
That's definitely kind of the one. Like, Pruka's a good back, but he's more of kind of the dual threat catch run than a guy that's going to tote it 25 times, run up the middle. So maybe that's if you've got the back end to kind of hold up a little bit, force them into being a little bit one-dimensional, but that's easier said than done. They're pretty darn good at that other dimension. Right. So
they've been mixing in Amir Hill a little bit too. Yeah. And four rushes for 30 yards. Maybe some jet sweep stuff, but still like just a different look. Yeah,
previous week too, he was kind of the focal point of the offense. So again, they've just got so many guys, and every single week it could be somebody different depending on the matchups. Again, we haven't even had a huge Amarion Jackson game yet, and led the state.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see him kind of get out of the
touchdown,
get in the touchdown column too, because he's definitely one. He's got to be one of those guys where it's going to be more than just stats with him. He's pretty accomplished and
playing defense too. He had a good game on that side of the ball.
He's got a pretty nice body of work.
63-21, but it was only like 42-21, right? or 35-21 late.
Oh, and yeah.
And
I mean, it was around there.
And then they kind of just...
They stay on the gas.
Yeah. Rivalry game, I guess. You just kind of do what you do.
Yeah, can't keep that bottle up for very long. I saw the game you were at, and you were there for a little bit too. There at number 2, Westside 52-21 over Bellevue West. Another one where, you guys got going early, and you kind of dominated in a lot of different ways. You had scored in a lot of different ways in that one.
Yeah, we didn't really get the ground game going, but we didn't have the ball a ton. I think we only had the ball for 13 or 14 snaps in the first half, which, I mean, we were efficient because we were scoring, but it wasn't a chance to statistically kind of be that team.
When you return 2 kickoffs for touchdowns, that kind of wipes away entire drives there.
Back to back.
You don't even give yourself the ball. But, Tate Jenkins, only 10 carries, 48 yards on offense. But
had the long one called back.
95-yard kickoff return touchdown. And then Keenan Khan, only 1 catch, but it's a 62-yard touchdown. And then an 88-yard kickoff return touchdown. So right there, that you're not going to have the ball very much if you score as soon as you touch the ball. And you guys did that a few times in that one.
Special teams was obviously huge in that game. It matters a ton.
Bryson Williams blocked a field goal.
It blocked a punt.
Punt, yeah. He's going to be good
Or he
player.
caught the punt that went off the up man's back.
I know one thing. I kind of left that game.
I ain't never seen that.
I left that game with a lot of respect for Will Anderson. He's a tough kid. He was pretty efficient throwing the ball. I think he only had 7 or 8 incompletions. Had the one big play we gave up on the 4th down, which got a chunk of those yards. But his ability he's a tough kid.
He was dinged up, left, came back, went back in the game.
He took some shots, and he was pretty stiff after the game. But I'm a big fan of his toughness. They got to figure out Bellevue West got to figure out a way to run the ball.
Yeah, have to find a way.
They need some balance.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think maybe they did some short passing games just to try and.
Yeah, the ball was coming out quick.
Yeah,
and using it as kind of an extension of the run game. So I definitely get that.
Your quarterback, another pretty efficient day as well. 13 for 16, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns for Braylon Moore in there. So week by week getting better and kind of figuring out different ways to impact the game.
Yeah, we're trimming, just kind of trying to dial in on what he does really, really well and then go with that. He's got a chance to – he's a really, really high-end talent. So I think just getting him acclimated and doing the little things too, right? Standing in the pocket, throwing the ball on time, things like that will come with varsity starts, but he's still only making his 5th varsity start.
And Eli Johnson, favorite target in that one, 5 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. Big, strong, athletic kid.
And he's flipping over to help us play some defense too, which I think is going to help. We need his physicality, but he is really starting to come into his own.
Yep. So Millard South has Lincoln Southeast on Friday, and you guys get Central on Friday on the road there. So 2 games where both teams will have to be ready to play. They're not necessarily top 5 matchups, but they're teams that we know have talent on both those squads. Yeah.
Capable. We jump over to number 3 Elkhorn South in the Storm.
49-14 win against Grand Island.
It's impressive, at least on paper.
Yeah, well, Madden Riggs completed 6 passes. 3 of them were for touchdowns.
Is that pretty efficient?
Day. Yeah, 6 of 8 passing.
That's pretty good.
And then Gavin Shanahan, 19 carries for 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. Landon Tate, 4 catches, 96 yards and a touchdown. He had a couple others with receiving touchdowns. And Grand Island, 159 total yards. So with the turnover, Elkhorn South again continue.
It's a pretty good passing offense they bottled up.
Yeah, and got a takeaway in there as well. Both Grand Island's touchdowns came in the 4th quarter after the game was already over. So that Elkhorn South defense, we've talked about, they've got playmakers at every level of that defense. Some really good athletes, some experienced players there, and
the linebackers are really good.
Yeah.
Meyer is really good.
Yeah. And plays both ways. He had one of those touchdowns.
McCourter Geezer's really good.
Got the fumble recovery there for that turnover. So
the one thing about Oakland South, they will run the ball. Yeah. That's a bread and butter. They're going to find a way to run the ball.
And that's the thing. Like if if Riggs can complete those passes off the thread of the running game, complete a few of those big ones down the field, like that opens so much up for them, and that gives them a chance to. Like we talked about Millard South and Westside. If they get good quarterback play, Elkhorn South can be right up there.
Let's go. I guess I could do the transitions. It might be a lot easier. Let's go to number 4. We're gonna go through the top 10.
Yeah.
So,
keep it moving here. We got 3 of us trying to get all our thoughts out. Big one.
Kearney's big win.
Big win. 13-6.
I was pretty impressed. I wasn't sure they could win a low-scoring game. I thought they were gonna have to probably get into a little bit of a shootout. Shows you how much I know. That's pretty good. I was shocked looking at this one, keeping that North offense bottled up.
It was 13-0 for a long time. It's pretty good.
And after what they went through the previous week to bounce back and win a game like that, where physical defenses have to kind of carry the way for them. And
you mentioned listening to him on the show in the morning, where I think he used that Friday, kind of reflect, formulate. Then they got the rest over the weekend with kind of the one extra day to prepare. They were definitely that's a pretty emotional bounce back. That's impressive to see what they did, because I think a lot of people felt like North maybe down the stretch could be one of those teams that you definitely don't want to see. So they at least momentarily kind of quelled
some of that.
Some of that, because that was a good win.
Come and for Kearney, I mean that's a pretty nice coaching job if you think about it. After
taking it on the chin.
I mean, and then coming back and winning that, it was pretty impressive for them to do that.
Holding North to 1 touchdown. They got the quarterback run game going a little bit. Wasn't an explosive offensive game for either of these teams, but Novacek had 98 yards on the ground, and then Sawyer Schilke kind of wrecked the game a little bit there.
Told you he's capable.
Find a way to get him just be involved.
He had one of those touchdowns.
Capable.
Yeah, one of those touchdowns on offense and 10 tackles, a sack. They had 4 sacks as a team, had a pick, blocked an extra point there. So just really impressive performance.
Yeah, North
Kearney.
couldn't get the ground game going.
Yeah, that's got to be the key for them. We saw, I think, previous week it was kind of Mikey Gow getting loose there and having a big game. Like they got to get that run game going. We know that's with those big linemen up front. That has to be their identity. And Kearney did not allow them to do that there. So again, Kearney up to 4. North dropped down to 8 now at 2-2. And rising up to 5.
Tough schedule. This is our biggest mover.
Yeah. Papillion-LaVista.
Unless you count non-ranked to being ranked. But this is our biggest mover within the top 10, up 3 spots.
All they've done is taken care of business so far. They haven't gotten a chance to take on any of those top teams just yet. But
they're going to this week.
Yeah, looked impressive in every game thus far. But, they 56-0 win against Bellevue East. And now Thursday game, Papillion-LaVista against Prep, who slots in at 7. So that'll be a fun one, 5 versus 7 there.
Should be relatively low scoring. Yeah. That game could be about an hour 30.
17-10.
If it's low scoring, then Prep's got a chance. If it's not, then I think that means Papio probably got away from them, because Leggett threw for 330 yards and 7 touchdowns. Then their backup Viterra came in and threw for a touchdown as well.
Leggett, that's a state record.
Yeah,
state record, tied, I guess, 7 touchdown passes. Class A, anyway.
Yeah. So the most explosive skill player in that one will probably belong to Papio.
Papio, yeah. Hammering.
Yeah, but defensively, this is going to be a good one.
Prep matches up really well. Defensively, they can match up really well with those guys.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Prep momentarily. I got to see them this last week, but
points may be at a premium in that one. But I completely agree with you. The more points scored, the more of an advantage it is for Papio.
And it is interesting. We talked about Papio kind of the first few weeks, figuring out what this version looks like for them offensively. And obviously it was Prestito's show last year. They're airing it out. Like they didn't have a great rushing game against Bellevue East. They're only 75 yards on 21 carries. But you got your quarterback completing a touchdown pass, more than half his completions. Then you can get away with that. Cale Johnson, Owen Bogots, Jonathan Harden, Luke Bennett, and Pomerantz, you mentioned, all were on those receiving touchdowns there for the Monarchs. So a lot of guys for him to throw to, and kind of appears to be settling in to his own there at quarterback.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a matchup as they face. Well, let's get to Millard North quick, as we just touched on them, but more from the Millard South angle. If you're Millard North offensively, what are you going to try to kind of settle into as an identity here? It's basically your ground game turns into, how can we get Vermas in space?
Yeah.
I mean, you could run the ball with Bogats if you want to be patient.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they want to be patient that much. That's the thing.
I think they just need some balance, right? Take some of the pressure off your quarterback play.
Just be cool with Bogats getting 3.5 yards a chunk, right? Like just kind of pound it.
Schedule lightens up a little bit this week, so maybe they can kind of try to figure that out and try to go with, all right, this is what we want to do. Let's execute this, and then we can build on that moving forward. But, yeah, like and we talked about, they've got some of the best playmakers in the state there with Muberry and Vermas and those guys. And we talked about Bogats has been really productive for them throughout his career. So they've got the pieces there. They got to be able to execute up front. Yeah. That was a big problem when I saw them against Cherry Creek a few weeks back. They just weren't able to win in the trenches, and that's always going to be the key in football. So they can get that figured out. Those guys can kind of settle in and improve, then they'll have a chance to win some games down the stretch here.
As they head into, like I said, a little bit of a break in the schedule, but a team that doesn't is one in which you saw live and in living color with Omaha Creighton Prep as they welcome in Papio this week, coming off a hard-fought one against Millard West.
Yeah, it was a good one. Went over there, Beal, and Prep pulled out the 15-10 win. Wasn't a great offensive day, but I mean, Jacob Ruby kind of carried the load. 20 carries.
Yeah, what happened? So is there something wrong with the tandem?
So no, actually, they basically Ruby toted basically the rock the entire night. They had Walker playing receiver.
To give them give them a little bit of punch outside the numbers.
And he had 6 catches for 79 yards. So like that was noteworthy because trying to get those guys out there at the same time. Caniglio had some nice passes to him, kind of out on the rolling out.
That's some stuff you could see down the road too with him playing receiver. You motion him into the backfield, hand it off to him, jet sweep.
Finding a different way to get the deuce.
They could be setting some stuff up.
He does give them some balance because he's probably the more electric or the more versatile runner of the two. Ruby's kind of the hammer.
Yeah, so I think it seems like maybe they're taking a page out of the Elkhorn South book a little bit and trying to use those guys together as opposed to kind of the 1-2 punch there in the backfield. Try to
find a way to get him on the field at the same time.
Yeah, just like Shanahan and Secco there at Elkhorn South.
Right. We talked about that matchup. There's no way that game boils down to who makes a player two outside the numbers.
Well, so Prep has to hold up. Their defense was lights out most of the night. Alex Costello had 2 picks, including one at the end to end it. They slipped up one time. They had Millard West backed up inside the 5 and gave up a 98-yard touchdown pass, throw over the top. Nice play from DJ Sheeman. Michael Coleman caught it and beat everybody to the end zone. Next time, they backed him up again. This time it was a safety. So defense improved from the previous drive there. They got to be able to kind of lock that in, make sure they don't have any slip-ups like that. That could be the difference in the game against Papio on Thursday.
That's going to be an interesting one, which will have a lot of eyeballs, too.
That's the biggest game.
As a Thursday matchup. We talked about Omaha North and Bellevue West a little bit. Any additional comments from what you saw from North or Bellevue West, both in a loss?
No, I think it's kind of the same things that we've been talking about each week for them, and now a little bit lighter schedule for both. A chance to kind of, again, improve on some things, get some confidence heading into the second half of the season there. They're still hanging coaches still have the respect for them, hanging in there at the end of the rankings at 2-2 with some of the tough games that they've had. But we know they've got some good players now. They've got to kind of put it together and improve over the second half.
Yeah, no, and our new arrival Lincoln East. One of 2 3-1 Lincoln teams.
Yeah.
Because Southeast is 3-1 too but they had the loss to Prep. Lincoln East riding a little momentum.
Lincoln East had as far as the ratings are concerned, because I'm the one that tabulates it, it was like a point off. So it was virtually a tie between
Millard West,
Lincoln East, and Lincoln Southeast. It was virtually a tie, but East had just one more point, so it was really close.
And the start of Southwest transfer quarterback Ryan Manning beat his old team. Jackson Carpenter back for Southwest. Good to see him out there. Didn't have a big game, but was able to get back out on the field after missing the last few weeks. So hopefully he can kind of start having the senior season that he hoped he'd have. Got sidetracked by the injury there.
When you're talking about the fluidity of the top 10, I don't have any problems. I know Millard West receiving votes. That is a brutal schedule.
Yeah.
And I think I could say this, having played against them. Even though they're 0-4, they're might be one of their better coaching performances.
Yeah.
Like,
they are tough on defense.
And they don't have a ton of, I left that game and I was like, listen, they don't need my validation, but I mean, some games, as when you're preparing to see a team, how prepared they are. Mm-hmm. That's a well-prepared football team.
Yeah, they're well coached. There's no question. Now they go to Grand Island. They win that. It looks like they could just rattle off 5 in a row here to end the year and be 5-4 and district champs and play be the 10, 11, 12, 13 seed, and no one really wants to play them as the 3, 4, 5. Like, I wouldn't. I mean, I just wouldn't. So especially as the season goes along, they start to figure stuff out and have some confidence building kind of wins and victories that are ahead. It looks like. I don't want to play them. They're obviously in the softest district. If you just look at records and who's in that, but they definitely could be the district champion. I mean,
that's kind of the way sometimes these schedules work out when they're shorter seasons.
Give me the other two. Give me that.
Grand Island.
Okay, that's the two. That's the if you serpentine it.
Yeah,
okay.
Grand Island's basically the 2 in that.
Yeah, you get all your tough games early. If you can get through that and still have confidence, still be feeling good physically, you got a chance to get on a roll here and build some momentum there. So we'll see if they can do that. Teams that have plenty of momentum down there in Class B are number 1 Bennington and number 2 Scott. Bennington won 44-7 against Grand Island Northwest, and Scott won 48-17 against Ralston. I haven't looked at the season stats, but Dylan Van Dyke's touchdown per pass ratio at this point.
It's high. He's very, very efficient when they put it in the air.
Yeah, it's 4 or 5 touchdowns every single week for him, despite not being able to play an entire game.
Michael Jerome and I talked during the 7-on-7. We were joking, that he somehow conned Scott into participating first of all, which I know is not Matt's style, but it's a lot of Seth's style. Yeah, it's like, so it was cool to see him. And when we went against him,
he had a nice day.
They dealt us fits, and I get to 7-on-7, but you just don't get out of bed and can throw the ball around the yard, right? I mean, Van Dyke is clearly pretty good.
Their schedule gets a lot tougher here, though.
Yeah.
I mean, their first 4 games were kind of light. I mean, they have Elkhorn at Pius, at Elkhorn North, Bennington, at Blair. It gets tougher now.
Although, and we'll get to now I don't know what to think of Blair. Right? So we'll get to that, and I'm not sure how healthy Pius is either.
Yeah. Not.
We mentioned Van Dyke, but Houston Hill for Bennington had a big game passing for them. Like, that's kind of...
He's starting to come around.
Yeah. Like, that's not good for the rest of the class. They're starting to figure that out in addition to what they do.
Figure the offensive side out.
Because you can give it to Goots, right?
Yeah.
He had 2 touchdowns. Hill, 3 passing touchdowns, 239 yards. And so they also had a fumble recovery touchdown for Miles Gifford and a pick for him on defense. So we know... Feels like you can almost bank on a defensive touchdown a week from those guys. Certainly explosive on that side of the ball. Those 2 look really good at the top. Game of the week.
Clearly.
In B we talked about it. We were excited thought we were going to be able to learn about these teams in here.
Yeah.
Seward survives 28-27 out at Scottsbluff. Scottsbluff tied going in the 4th quarter. Scottsbluff went down and took the lead, but Seward blocked the extra point.
Blocked!
Yep.
And then the Blue Jays marched down the field and scored with 2 minutes to go there and they converted their extra point to win that game, then held on there. So, we wanted to learn about Scottsbluff, and I think we did. They didn't get the win there, but they went toe-to-toe with a Seward team that we think is pretty good. And
I wanted to learn more about Seward on that trip out there and all that stuff. And
how they
would handle it, right?
Yeah.
And they did.
I think no changes in the rankings kind of shows the respect for both those teams there. It's like, two really good teams that went at it. Somebody had to win, but there's no shame in a 1-point loss to a team like Seward, who Treston Haas, again, we've been talking about him all season, 130 yards passing and a touchdown, 105 yards rushing and a touchdown. And they got Edison Knott as well loose. 29 carries, 149 yards and a touchdown.
It's a steady diet. That kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those two, that's a tough combo right there, and they're going to give problems to pretty much everybody they play this season. Seward has Lincoln Northwest this week. Scottsbluff has Lexington Friday, so both have a chance to kind of bounce back this week there. Nate Kelly had 146 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, and Des Smith had 146 yards rushing and a touchdown. So good offensive balance. That's kind of been the story of the season for Scottsbluff there. And Seward just made one extra play.
Yes.
So
stuck right dab smack in the middle of 3 and 5 that we just talked about is Elkhorn North, and all they do is keep winning.
It was an impressive win they had.
Yeah, the numbers say so Gretna defensively must still be trying to figuring it out.
But I think what's impressive is what we holding them to 7 points offensively. So we've seen maybe some leaks on that Gretna defense the last couple of weeks, and even before that Blair loss, you're starting to see they got to figure some things out there. But
Elkhorn North may be built up front to withstand some physicality if you're trying to project down the road.
And Ethan Beachy, he had 4
Explosive.
touchdowns, 295 yards
Is he right?
passing.
Yeah.
He throws it a little better than I can't think of his name last year. The guy they had last year. Ferguson. Yeah. He throws it a little bit better. He's just a junior.
And he can run it too at 77 yards on the ground in addition.
He looks fast.
He looks just like Ferguson.
Right?
They're built the same.
Yeah.
But he's got some leadership quality. I saw them play York and handle York, and they're built up front. Their schedule obviously gets a little tougher down the road here too, but
you should tell that too. Teams like Waverly and Norris, some of these teams have ran the gauntlet early.
It's real tough. Yeah.
And speaking of Waverly, 28-0 win over Elkhorn. Impressive win for that.
That was a good win.
And Nathan Axman not playing on offense right now, working through some things there. So that's your best playmaker on offense, most explosive player, and you don't even have him, and he still put up a 28-0 win.
They have a couple get-right games, confidence-building games, I should say.
I like coming. He gives me the whoa the hand.
Waverly has a couple confidence-building games here that can get them rolling a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
2-2. They've earned it.
Yeah, it's been real
if that's how you look at it.
Feels like that's been the case every single year with some of these Class B EMC teams.
It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
It's like every week can we I don't know. There's no looking ahead, that's for sure. And he jumped to 8 after talking about Norris as well with Pius.
Norris Pius this week is a big game.
So do we know how good Volkmer does or doesn't feel?
I've heard a couple different things. I guess I should just ask. I've heard that he's out for the year. I've heard that he's just dealing with a hamstring. He got stepped on, is what it was. So like an ankle/hamstring that he got stepped on.
Well, that's
twice.
weird. Those things don't usually go together.
Yeah, it was. I guess it was a weird, odd play. Someone said so. We'll see. They were down their 3rd quarterback last week. Still won? Yeah, that's impressive, right?
2-2, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what we would.
If you
that's tough.
Anybody with their 3rd quarterback in high school, you're just struggling a little bit.
And we know Norris has a pretty good quarterback on their side, so that'll be important for Pius to kind of figure that out. But, Norris jumped in there at 7 after a 41-14 win against Blair, who was number 7.
It's really surprised me.
Yeah, dropped down to 9.
The scoring differential, I guess.
sometimes, like, we know Blair's got a real good player there in Templar, but I mean, sometimes things just really come together, and you're not able to replicate 55 points against, like, that's
the week before.
Yeah.
I took a double take. I was like, that's pretty impressive.
So big key for them. Like, all right, you had the big win, then you had a disappointing loss. Where does Blair go from here?
They play Elkhorn North this week.
And it's at their place. Which I mean, listen, it's not like Blair's far. It's 20 minutes, but
Blair plays Elkhorn North, Bennington, Seward at Seward.
Oh boy,
at Elkhorn. Finish with Scott. At Elkhorn North, Bennington.
The look on my face.
Yeah, your reaction was great.
Wow, you're finishing with 4 of the top 5 teams in the state.
And Elkhorn in there.
You're finishing with 4 of the top 5 teams in the state.
Good luck, Blair.
Yeah. That is tough.
Yeah. Tell me the win tell me just yep, we can get that one. There isn't one.
That's incredible.
Elkhorn.
Not saying they can't.
I apologize for the befuddled look.
Yeah.
That's just like
that's
I hadn't looked that far ahead either.
That is a gauntlet.
The district.
Oh boy, Class B. So wrapping that up, McCook jumped in at 10 after a 34 win against Creighton. They're 3-1, off to a good start there. So that's B. I think in Class C1, couple of the results to mention. Wahoo.
Hey, real quick on the McCook thing. McCook goes to Gering, and Gering's 4-0.
Yeah.
I mean, they're undefeated. So that's
okay.
Interesting.
Okay, we'll figure something out there.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, C1 Wahoo 36-0 over Gross. We talked about Class B team that we thought had gotten up to a decent start. They're going there. Wahoo, they are a wagon. So good luck to
That's kind of
C1.
the term now. I'm going to start using that.
They go to DC West this week.
Yeah.
Could be a little sneaky. We'll see.
Yeah, DC West coming off a tough one.
Yeah, that's what. How are they feeling? And then because that was a great win for Ron Colley, in my opinion, because I think DC West is on the come. Mm-hmm. But I'll see how they're built. I don't know if they're built up front for Wahoo. That's. I mean, and a lot of teams won't be, but that's going to be the key for them.
Yep. And the other one was 3 versus 4 in last week's poll, and man, I was there. Ashland-Greenwood 41-13 against Auburn. Really impressive performance there by Ashland-Greenwood. Defensively, they really kept Auburn in check. One of their touchdowns was an 83-yard kickoff return from Nixon Lagori, who had a 41-yard kickoff return previously, and then they stopped kicking anywhere near him. So didn't give him any more chances to return that. But he also had a rushing touchdown. But they really bottled that offense up. Lagori had 51 yards passing, 40 rushing, and they didn't really get much else offensively there. So really impressive performance by Ashland-Greenwood on defense. And then Derek Tonjes. Ashland-Greenwood didn't really have a handoff run game at all. Like basically all their successful runs were kind of trick plays, reverses, and things of that nature. But Tonjes, they let him sling it. 20 for 26 for 290 yards and 5 touchdowns. Thomas Spears. So this is the first time I've seen him play. Like I've known about him. Yeah, because I haven't gotten a chance to see them play the last couple of years. And
he's a little guy.
But man. On offense, 8 catches, 143 yards and 3 touchdowns and 13 tackles. There were a few plays where Auburn short passes, they thought they were getting their guy in space, and then immediately on the catch, he flies in out of nowhere and just buries them. Yeah. Like he's 5'7" or whatever, but he hits you, you go down. Yeah. So he's a lot of fun to watch. And then they got Cal Kissinger, Landon Mose, Garrett Turner. They got some other guys that they use on offense, and so that's Ashland-Greenwood up to number 3. The only loss against Wahoo. No shame in that. That was Auburn's first loss. Dropped them down to the receiving votes category.
Yeah, I was a little shocked about that.
When I was putting it together, I'm like, whoa, like this maybe is a little bit of an overreaction.
But also, C1, you look at it, there are a lot of 3 and 4, 3 and 1, 4 1.
But their schedule is super light. Like even before that game, it was not amazing. So.
And then 28-point loss in that one. So
look at your Lakeview guys. We wondered if it would translate what we saw them be very, very efficient in 7-on-7. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's a correlation. Sometimes there isn't. Yeah. We do know he's a good coach, though.
Mount Michael, 24-14. They're not blowing people out. They didn't blow Ron Colley out. It was 14-7. Mount Michael, they went 24-14. But now, obviously they have Skyler and Wayne SCOTUS, that's a big one on the 11th of October. And then Pierce and O'Neill.
Pierce is struggling quite a bit.
Yeah, traditional name, right? But I think there's a lot of respect that goes with that. But
Cycling
at the same time,
through.
it's a cycle thing, I think.
So what do we think about Boys Town? I know the individual talent, but
Darren Whitaker, he's a little different than a lot of the guys that you see in Seward.
He's a stud. He is a stud.
I was gonna get to that. He would play for anybody.
They got a big one this week, right?
Yeah. At Gross Thursday night. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a little tough one. At Gross might be a little tough. There's a lot of depth at Boys Town.
He's legit.
Yeah.
Hey, the one thing with Boys Town though is like X factor is Poti. He's playing quarterback
and defense.
Yeah.
Had to pick this last week.
Right.
Yeah.
And him playing quarterback, he can use his legs and run around, and like he's really athletic and quick.
He had a big game a couple weeks ago.
He's their punter. I think he's their punt returner. Like, kind of does everything.
Man, is he cook?
Yeah, does everything else. So, but Boys Town, I mean, they have Gross, and then they have Ashland-Greenwood.
So, big
back to back. Big couple.
Central City coming off the win against Neb City. That's a good offense.
Central City's, yeah. Imagine
big
that.
man quarterback.
Yeah, that's, and then
they've scored 48, 55, 41, and 55.
No, it's a good offense.
Really good offense.
Again, a team that I saw firsthand at 7-on-7. I'm like, they can throw it around the yard a little bit.
Yeah.
Parker's got good size. He's thin, but he's a good arm, baseball guy.
Yeah.
And they're pretty creative on offense.
Coach Schubert does a lot of different stuff. I mean, it's totally
they
different.
may need to have to find a little bit more of a run game, but they can throw it around the yard for sure.
It's totally different than what you normally see in Class C football.
And then in C2, not a lot of changes. The one big game that we need to hit on is the one that you were at, game of the week. It was 4 versus 5 in the last week's poll there, I believe. Oakland-Craig against Malcolm there. Yeah. 27-9 win for Oakland-Craig.
Listen to this. Oakland-Craig suited up 23 players.
What?
Total?
They have 25 on their varsity.
Wow.
Or 25. That 20 they suited up that 23 players, and one guy, Coach Anderson, told me, he's like, yeah, we told him just suit up so it looked like we had more people, but he wasn't gonna play. Like, he's just dinged up. And that's amazing. That's incredible.
Makes that one even more that much more impressive.
Yeah.
So did it play out like the score?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, they kind of just dominated, frankly. I mean, defensively they did. We talk about Braylons and quarterbacks, and when you think of Braylon as a quarterback, you go to Omaha Westside and you just Braylon Warren. I don't know, this Braylon Anderson kid's pretty dang good too, and he has a heater. Like, he throws it. Dudes are catching everything too, which is pretty impressive for C2 because he throws like there's not a lot of touch on that thing. It's coming in hot, and they're making plays and catches. Obviously, really well coached team.
Jackson Jurgensen had a big game as well.
Yeah,
to kind of balance that out.
They're trying to get him going in the run game, and they did a little bit. So he had a big game. But Anderson was 20 of 34 and 219 and 2 touchdowns. The one pick of the 2, kid just went up and made a play. Like, it was a 50-50 ball, and actually the Oakland-Craig receiver came down with it, but when they hit the ground, Malcolm kid walked up with, I don't know.
The Dylan Raiola special?
A lot of Nebraska right there.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So, Jorgensen had 132 on the ground. For them, obviously, they need to be healthy, and the Oakland-Craig schedule gets real tough right here. You have at Battle Creek and then Norfolk Catholic coming up in 2 weeks, in the next 2 weeks, the 2 top teams at C2.
You feel pretty good about those rankings right there.
I do.
And C2 with Norfolk Catholic and Battle Creek, considering we saw Bishop Newman early with Norfolk Catholic.
Yeah, I do. I think that's fair. Yeah.
Because, if that score is indicative, then it's 1-2, and then there's Yeah.
Like I said, we're going to find out.
Oakland-Craig will have a chance to show.
Oakland-Craig goes to Battle Creek, and Battle Creek is huge.
That's a big football team.
They're huge up front, and so we'll see. And Oakland-Craig's not real big. They don't have a lot of numbers, but they got like Superman out there, and Anderson, who obviously plays both ways and stuff. But that one's huge. It's pretty huge.
Yeah. All right, wrap up with some shout-outs here and start with, you just mentioned Newman. Of course, the Booth and Bailey kind of start to this thing. Feels like it's going to be a weekly occurrence here, but both went over 300 yards this week. Booth for Newman, 13 carries, 303 yards, and 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns and 13 carries, 300 yards. That's, 73-7 win against Hastings St. Cecilia. And then Quinn Bailey, 38 carries for 324 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Had 3 catches for 24 yards and a touchdown. So he accounted for 348 of their 375 yards from scrimmage.
How about the efficiency of scores to touches we've seen here in the last handful of weeks?
Oh, that's not all, though. He also had a 2-point conversion. He had 7 tackles. He's also their punter, averaged 53 yards a punt on 3 punts. Return to kickoff, return to kickoff 17
There's a
yards.
video I saw of him. I think it was a squat or hang clean or something, like school record. I thought it was like 550 or something crazy. Like a huge number. It was like school record lifting some. I forget which one it was, but I saw it in the summer. I was like, oh, like, wow. Shadron, speaking of, they play Sydney the last game of the regular season game on the 25th. And both teams could be very much so undefeated at that point. So,
Wow, West.
yeah. And Sydney's number 2 and has been consistently all year.
Speaking of Sydney, Alec Doty, their quarterback, 8 of 11 for 264 yards and 5 touchdowns, 13 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown, 3 tackles. He's also their kicker, 7 kickoffs for 386 yards, went 6 for 6 on PATs in a 42-0 win against Mitchell. So, yeah, that's you mentioned Sydney right up there at number 2 off to a great start. We talked about last week. They lost to Doty and had another one step right in there and is kind of doing the same thing that Isaac did last year. And then another Boone Central junior, Brogan Ben, is talk about basically being an entire offense yourself. Completed both passes he threw for 68 yards and a touchdown. Carried the ball 25 times for 223 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 2 receptions for 114 yards and a touchdown, including an 81-yarder. So he accounted for 405 of their 485 yards from scrimmage there in a 37-14 win against Wood River there. So, Boone Central, really impressive performance for him. And then a couple in Class A, just to mention, Burke Senior Nate Collins, quarterback there, 19 of 28 for 347 yards and 5 touchdowns, 12 carries for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns. So 7 total touchdowns for him there. Also had converted 6 2-point tries, 4 passing, 2 rushing, and a 73-46 win against Bryan. That's a lot of points, 119 points.
It is. We just kept seeing the score light up like ping pong. I'm like, oh, see if they get to 130.
Yeah. And then finally, we mentioned Derek Jones finally got loose there.
Getting it going a little bit.
Yeah, got Papillion South's first win there, 34-21 against Westview, and 28 carries for 223 yards and 4 touchdowns. Also caught 2 passes for 10 yards, returned 3 kickoffs for 67 yards there. So good to see him get loose. After starting off the year a little bit slow, we know what kind of player he is.
Yeah, then he doesn't have to listen to his brother give him a hard time. That's another week of NEB Preps. It is about as thorough as you're going to get. We appreciate your support. That's my main man, Michael Sautter, Jacob Padilla. We will be back next week with another episode of NEB Preps.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.